happened. When I was 12, my stepdad lost it during a dinner argument and told me I wasn't his real kid anyway, so why should he care what happened to me? My mom just sat there, silent. That wasn't the first time he'd said something like that. For months, he'd been making little comments about how I wasn't really family, how I was just extra baggage he inherited when he married my mom. He'd tell me I ate too much, cost too much money, and that real dads didn't have to deal with someone else's mistakes. It started small. He'd make jokes about how I looked nothing like him, unlike his biological daughter from his first marriage. He'd forget to buy me things when shopping for the family. When relatives asked about me, he'd introduce me as Sarah's boy instead of using my name. The worst part was watching my mom shrink every time he did it. She'd gone from being this confident single mother to someone who apologized for my existence. Before him, she'd brag about my good grades. Now, she acted like I was a burden. Last month, his daughter came to visit, and he bought her this expensive bike I'd been asking for all year. When I asked why she got it and I didn't, he said, blood relatives come first. My mom was right there and didn't say a word. 2 weeks later, I accidentally broke a glass while doing dishes. He exploded, saying I was careless with other people's property because nothing in the house actually belonged to me. Then came parent-teacher conferences. My teacher said I was struggling to focus, seemed withdrawn. Instead of asking what was wrong, my stepdad said maybe I had behavioral problems like my real father, and that's why he'd abandoned us. 3 days before I ran away, I came home excited because I'd made honor roll again. My stepdad barely glanced at my report card and said, good grades don't mean much when you're not actually my responsibility anyway. I accidentally saw a text on my mom's phone from my biological father begging to see me. The message thread showed he'd been trying to contact me for 2 years. My mom had been telling him I didn't want to see him while telling me he didn't care about me. The night I left, he'd been drinking and going through our grocery bill. He showed my mom bank statements, pointing at every expense related to me. School supplies, clothes, doctor visits. This is what I'm paying for someone else's kid, he kept saying. When I tried to defend myself, saying I did chores and helped around the house, that's when he exploded with the line about not being his real kid. He threw the calculator across the kitchen and told me that no amount of dishwashing would ever make up for the fact that I wasn't his responsibility. I looked at my mom, waiting for her to finally stand up for me. Instead, she just stared at her hands and whispered, maybe you should go to your room. That night, I packed my school backpack with clothes and the $47 I'd saved. I also took my birth certificate and a family photo where my biological dad was holding me as a baby. I left through my bedroom window at 3 a.m. and started walking toward my aunt's house 3 towns over. She was my dad's sister and the only person who'd ever made me feel like I mattered. But walking alone in the dark, sleeping in a 24-hour laundromat, living off gas station snacks, none of that hurt as much as seeing my own face on missing person flyers. On day 6, starving and exhausted, I finally called my aunt from a payphone. She immediately drove 4 hours to get me. When we pulled into my driveway, there were police cars everywhere. My mom ran out crying, but the first thing my stepdad said